We end tonight's broadcast with The Big Finish. These are short story mentions of LGBTQ news or news with a gay perspective. So here we go first on Queer News Tonight's The Big Finish. Oh, I'm excited to even say your name. No one is letting Cher volunteer at the post office. This is a headline from yesterday.
I have to say, if we could only turn back time. 4 years ago when the post office and mail and elections in America and everything was normal.
All right.
True.
That was a pretty good imitation.
Show.
That was a better imitation.
I don't know. You know, the post office cannot accept volunteers because they would have to do a level 2 background check and fingerprint them, and that all costs a lot of money. And the same thing with my job at SunServe. A lot of people try to volunteer with my organization, and it costs a lot of money to do the background check and the fingerprints, and if they only want to volunteer once a month or it's not worth it. So
I'm pretty sure that her intent was to draw attention to the problem.
Oh, yes.
Of course. 74-year-old Cher volunteers at the post office.
Yeah.
Let's just imagine that
Why?
for a moment. The drifting music is going on around my head. Cher marches into the Washington post office right down the street from the White House, which, by the way, is now the Trump National Hotel. I'm not kidding. The U.S. Post Office on Pennsylvania Avenue is a Trump hotel. In the lobby, she walks in demanding to volunteer for a fair election. She yells at the Donald saying, "Take it like a man." She said, "If I could turn back time, Russia and you tricksters couldn't have stolen the election for Hillary or from Hillary." I have to get that in for Aaron. Trump yelled back, calling her half-breed. Cher asked, "Where is Roger Stone? You know, the one that is just like Jesse James in stealing an election." Melania's over in the corner of the lobby, sitting there in sympathy for Cher, saying, "We all sleep alone."
This sounds like a wet dream.
Just then, Donald Jr. and Eric, and the one that we can never remember his name, walks in. And the bell captain says, "Oh, look, it's gypsies, tramps, and thieves."
Oh, Jesus.
Then the Wicked Witch herself, Ivanka, flies in on her broom, and the flying monkeys bow to her in the lobby, chanting, "Dark Lady." And Coulter is there. She's working behind the front desk and calls for security to escort Cher out of their post office, screaming, "Bang, bang," and then turns to Donald saying, "I've got you, babe." As they escort Cher out, she reminds us all to believe the election can be won, one vote by mail at a time. And as she's finally dragged out of that Trump post office, it's just then the savior, Hillary, walks in to say to Cher, "Thank you, and you haven't seen the last of me."
Wow. Your monologue was like, is that what you jerk off to, or is that your dream?
I'll tell our viewers, for those who may not have known, you know now, Al Ferguson is a bottom.
The Big Finish. That calendar of hot naked gingers is coming for 2021.
I immediately heard ginger, and I was like, did the Spice Girls get back together?
Now, I've talked about my type, tall, dark, and handsome, for a long time on both of these shows on It's Happening Out and Queer News Tonight. But there was a time that I thought every ginger was super sexy. It's true. In the 4th to 6th grade, the most beautiful girl in our school was a redhead. And then the second redhead I met was in 7th grade in junior high when I switched schools. I fell in love with a ginger named Steven. It wasn't until years later that I realized gingers did not have superpowers, and they were normal people just like the rest of us, beautiful and not so beautiful.
You know they're ginger everywhere, right?
Yes.
Everywhere.
It's also important to note that the person that she fell in love with, his name was Steven. And it's so true what they say in Steel Magnolias. All gay men are named Rick and Steve, and all gay men have track Latin.
Right? Well, after all the stuff in 2020 has put us through, at least there is finally something to look forward to in the new year. Clearly, like being gay is not a choice.
Right.
I have to admit, my preferences are not a choice either.
That's true.
No, Ginger. The big finish. Kamala Harris accepts the nomination for vice president, making history at the DNC.
Oh, God. It was so wonderful last night. I wasn't knowing what I should expect, if she was going to come out and really give a forceful speech. But, I mean, she was like America's mom. I mean, she was so sympathetic, genuine, authentic, and concerned just about bringing the country together. I mean, it was such a beautiful night.
Kamala is an amazing individual, and of course she accepted the nomination. She's a woman on a mission, and she's already hired Karine Jean-Pierre as the new chief of staff, provided, of course, Lord willing, they are elected.
No jokes here at all. It may seem like we are in rough times, and in ways we are, but it is nice, too, to sometimes take a step back and realize what a tremendous amount of progress the LGBTQ community has made over the last 50 years since Stonewall.
Very true.
Seriously, the history observation here from what many think is a gay, privileged white male, she is the real vice president, not a Quayle or a Pence. She is not picked from states' voting potential. Biden already had California in the bag. She is smart, not a not-so-smart token like Sarah Palin. She was a prosecutor, attorney general, U.S. senator of the 6th state largest economy in the world. For LGBTQ, she talks the talk, but more, she walks the walk. California was way ahead of America on gay marriage and LGBT rights. She was their enforcer. She destroyed the bigots. She took on trans rights. Her vice presidential chief of staff is historic. Female, black, lesbian. Come on. She is more qualified than Gore or Biden when they were nominated for vice president. Privileged, white, gay guy loves the history I am watching. All stop, period.
Exclamation point.
The big finish. Trump attacks Obama and Harris speeches in real time with all cap tweets?
Does this surprise anybody? Our president is more inclined to spend his time on Twitter than he is trying to combat the spread and transmission contraction of coronavirus and fixing America's economy. This is where his priorities are.
Truth. He is more focused on his reelection than anything else, including COVID. And this honestly comes as no surprise to me. Girl. He loves Twitter, girl.
Girl.
And of course he's not going to watch the DNC and not have something to say.
One more time. Girl.
Girl.
I wonder if Trump has any issue with all of his 2016 campaign managers being charged with crimes. No, probably more important to talk about fake news like an insane person. Unfortunately, the office of president is the most powerful person on our planet. Please, stop the world. I want to get off. The big finish. Apple is the first U.S. company to be valued at, wait, am I reading this right? $2 trillion.
This is what happens when we all conform to society, myself included, and anytime a new iPhone comes out, we say,
will do.
I have to have it. I have to have a MacBook for school. I have to have something about clouds and pages. Blah, 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 blah.
I have a MacBook Pro and an iPhone too. Not only is Apple the most valuable company in the world. Not in the U.S., he's the most valuable company in the world. I'm distracted by your iPhone. And their CEO, Tim Cook, is gay.
This goes a long way of explaining why Tim Cook is an LGBTQ billionaire. And hey, I have an iPhone. I just held it up, so I've done my part. FYI, however, far more important than the $1 trillion, my Siri is a hot Australian guy, and to me, he is so real.
British guy.
That's enough. How much money do you
Hey
need?
Siri, what's my name? Just kidding.
The big finish. The Emperor and the Imperial stormtroopers are gathering in Charlotte for the Republican National Convention.
I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, this Republican convention represents the worst of what America has become under the 4 years of Donald Trump. They're highlighting people who've been accused of sexually assaulting unconscious college girls. And Scott Baio.
They molested Scott Baio?
Yeah, and Scott Baio and Kid Rock. So, I mean, I don't take this seriously anymore. America, please vote for humanity on November 3rd.
Am I a bad person saying I'm excited to watch the mess?
No, I'm going to tell you that's the exact same thing. I'm going to say I'm going to be just like Donald Trump, watching it like this.
She's going to be tweeting.
I won't be tweeting. All caps.
But from where?
Can you believe?
From her iPhone. From her iPhone.
All right, fantastic. Fantastic. I just want to know, are they there to replace Trump? It would be an improvement over our current structure if they did. By the way, I think the Empire offered health care to all of their employees. And trans people, by the way, could be stormtroopers.
Absolutely. Especially the gender non-conforming and non-binary.